All right, let's keep on with the series. So if you've seen my other videos, they're in the description below. We're kind of talking about the most desirable people at the trade deadline and the most logical or likely fits for them. I'm going over a bunch of guys, and some guys who are obvious, some guys who are not. But I've talked about Trevor Story. I've talked about Josh Hader. Talked about Max Scherzer. Today we're going to do another reliever, Rich Rodriguez, of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Somebody may or may not have heard about, but he is a stud reliever, and he's got controllable years, and he represents a stud in that bullpen who could represent the massive upgrade for other teams in exchange for the Pirates, who need depth everywhere. They're one of the worst teams in baseball, and having one of the more dominant options in the bullpen can help extract the prospect package in return to give them good depth to help accelerate kind of a retooling or a rebuild at some point. So I've got 5 teams who represent a logical fit for Rich Rodriguez. Number 1 would be the Phillies. They need another dominant reliever, or even 2. And adding him to that stable, I think, to me, represents an upgrade. And again, this is something that Dave Dombrowski would not be afraid to do as the GM there. And he would, give that upgrade, give that bullpen a huge boost, another power arm who can throw multiple innings and take the load off some of their starters as well. They're strong at the top in the starting rotation, but on the back end, it's kind of starts to tail off and becomes a little bit suspect. So you need guys like this to kind of help finish games out, to help transition over to somebody else who might be a closer or whatever it is if he isn't the closer. But the Phillies, to me, seem to be a logical fit for him. And they have the prospect capital in return to give the Pirates, which is important. The next team is the San Francisco Giants, who, in my opinion, need a starter and a reliever if they want to stay up there with the Dodgers and the Padres. And he represents a gettable arm. They've got prospects they can give back in return. They can afford him when he becomes expensive. More expensive, and it would be a massive upgrade going to a contender, and again, who can give the Pirates what they need in return in terms of an exchange package of either minor league and major league players or whatever it is. They can do that. So, and again, the only way they're going to be able to stay with the Dodgers and Padres, in my opinion, is bringing in another pitcher, a starter, and a reliever, and that's my view. But I think they would be wise to do that, particularly since Kevin Gausman might not be back next year. He might even get moved at the deadline. Who knows? So they need guys like this, in my opinion, as well. So Giants are number 2. Number 3, the Tampa Bay Rays. Adding him, they've already acquired 2 relievers, and they're kind of formulating another dominant bullpen. Adding him to that stable would be just ridiculous. And again, adding a third reliever to the team to help. They play a lot of those American League East teams quite often, so giving them another power arm to help shut these guys down and to give them a chance to kind of get used to these teams. And, some of the American League East, at least with the Yankees, I know they struggle with dominant relievers, so this is a weapon that they would bring in to help negate a Yankees lineup or a Blue Jays lineup who sometimes struggles with tough relievers as well. So, in the Red Sox too. So, it's something to keep in mind. He would be a valuable piece there. I don't see them bringing in a ridiculously expensive, player. So, him and maybe another dominant reliever would be ideal, And even though a great way of kind of offsetting some of the things that they've lost in starting pitching. They've got some young upcoming pitchers, and obviously they've got Wander Franco and some position players that are in the pipeline coming up too. But another reliever, I think, would kind of make a strength even that stronger. So, he's a logical fit for me. Number 4 is the Toronto Blue Jays. Kind of same logic. They need another shutdown reliever, dominant arm, to go with that starting rotation, who also needs a shutdown starter as well. They've got some guys. They've got Ryu and Robbie Ray and this young kid, Alec Manoah, but they need more. They've got Steven Matz too. And they've pitched well as of recent, but some of them are inconsistent, and you don't want to put too much pressure on Manoah either. So a guy like this who has the ability to throw multiple games, multiple innings, represents a great value for the Blue Jays, who have the capital in terms of minor league or major league players and assets to give the Pirates in order to get this guy. So, and again, they're a team that could outbid. And I think if he winds up going to the American League East, you might see a bidding war between a couple of the teams. So that's probably the league that's in the best position to kind of create a bidding war for this guy's services. So I would not be surprised if he moves to the AL East. They're a logical fit. And last but not least, the Cincinnati Reds. They need another arm to complement, guys like Amir Garrett and Michael Lorenzen. He's going to cost a little bit, but because it's an in-division trade, but so they would have to pay a little bit more in terms of prospects or players or whatever. But it would be worth it. They've got the pieces to move for him, and I don't see the Reds honestly contending. And I could see them moving other guys moving forward potentially at the deadline this year. I just don't see them contending. So might as well take advantage of some of these really, really valuable pieces you have and move them, right? And to a team who can bring, and I'm talking about obviously the Pirates and the Reds here, but the Reds have pieces that they can move for Richard Rodriguez who are not helping their contending. So if they're contending, they make some significant improvements, and that's contingent upon them making significant improvements. Then it makes more sense to bring in a guy like Rich Rodriguez who can propel them to the next level, because the guys, this is what I meant to say, the guys that they have had aren't really taking them to that next level. Garrett's been good, but he's had some up and down moments. And again, Lorenzen's had some inconsistency, some injury issues. So add a Rich Rodriguez to that, turn into a nice bullpen trifecta. Now you're at a different ballgame. You can be more competitive. But the rest of the team has to perform. They have to get closer to the Cubs and the Cardinals in order for this trade to make sense. You know what I mean? So that's my logic behind that. I kind of bumbled around this one a little bit, but that's what I was getting to. And so the Reds seem to me a logical fit to me, contingent upon them improving over the next 2 months. So let me know what you think of these teams. If you have other teams in mind, put them in the comments down below. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. By the way, the next player we're going to talk about is actually an under-the-radar player. Anthony Santana is a dynamic young outfielder from the Baltimore Orioles, but he could have huge value on quite a few teams. So be on the lookout for that one. Talk to you then.